Hi, this is Dave Larson with the School of Acting and Voiceover, and I'm at our website, schoolofvoiceover.com. I'm going to hover over Home Studio, click Home Studio First Steps, and scroll down to Better Sound, because we're going to be talking about what constitutes good and bad sound, technically, not the acting. I'm going to scroll down past some good tips, you should read those, to the section, What is Good Audio? The first thing we care about is how loud is the background noise. We don't want to hear the traffic in your neighborhood. We don't want to hear the ceiling fan, anything else. You may have to adjust your studio or turn things off. There's some things you can do about that, but this is a measurement we're going to take, comparing how loud is the background noise compared to how loud your voice is. A second thing we care about that constitutes good or bad audio is the volume fairly consistent? Let's say you record an audiobook. You don't want the listener to have to keep turning the volume up and down. Often you don't have to do anything about that, particularly if you're recording something short. You're probably just fine. But if you've got some very loud or quiet moments, or you're recording something fairly long, you may have to do something to make your volume more consistent. We're going to be working with Audacity today. Probably most of you watching this video know that's what we recommend and prefer and support. Here is an update for Audacity. Click Get It Here. And remember to pause or go back in this video if you want to follow these steps. I'm going to go pretty quickly. I'm going to download this to my computer. I'm going to switch over to Audacity. I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to click Nyquist Plugin Installer. This plugin is a Nyquist plugin. I'm going to browse to where it is on my computer. I'm going to click OK. Now I've already installed it, so I get Already Installed message. If you're installing it for the first time, you'll get a message saying Installation Succeeded, and it'll remind you to enable it. To enable it, we've got to go back to the Tools menu, but instead of going down to Nyquist Plugin Installer, we're going to go up to Add Remove Plugins. Here I'm going to select the plugin. I'm going to click Enable. OK. All right, so I've installed that plugin. I'm going to bring some audio in here, and I'm going to show you how it works. Every place that's online, what we call an online marketplace, where you can audition to do voiceover work or find clients who will pay you to do voiceover work, you will probably have to send them some sample audio. It's common that they will have a test script. You read that script in your studio and you send them the recording, and they evaluate it to see how good your studio is and how savvy you are about setting your audio properly. One of the biggest marketplaces is ACX. It's short for Audiobook Creation Exchange, which was started by Audible.com, but because Amazon bought them, most people think of ACX as the place you go as a voiceover talent to record audiobooks that are sold on Amazon and elsewhere. ACX has a long list of standards. For example, some very obvious things. Cut out any bad takes. Cut out any mouth sounds or paper rustles, things like that. Obvious stuff that you should know to do. We're going to look at 3 things that this plugin will test and explain how that's valuable. And I'm going to show you what I do when I evaluate audio. So I'm going to zoom in on this audio a little bit. I'm going to just click and drag with my mouse and select a little bit. And I'm going to go up to Analyze ACX Check. And it tells us what it thinks about the audio. I'm going to go back over to the article we came from just to point out that I give you a screenshot of ACX Check, and I show you some things about understanding and making better audio. So be sure to read that. Back to the top, just to remind you, it's Home Studio First Steps. If you hover over Home Studio, it's the first article. Back to Audacity. The thing we care about the most is the noise floor. It's their way of saying, in this case, because it doesn't pass, it says it exceeds, it fails, that the noise is too loud. When I get audio to test, one of the things I do is I delete some of the voiceover and I leave what's known as the noise floor or the room tone. When you do a recording, remember this, before you start talking, start recording. Record a few seconds of you being silent. Of course, that's not silence. It's going to record whatever sound there is in your studio. Same thing when you're done. Record a few seconds. Be silent. after you're done reading. On the ACX marketplace, they actually require you to have a few seconds of what they call room tone at the beginning and the ending. And again, that just means your mic is set to the volume that's going to work for your voice, but you're not talking. You're holding still. I just hold my breath and hold still. All right, so we can see some places in here where there's a little bit of silence. It looks like there might be a little bit at the beginning, not very much as I zoom in. There's a little more at the ending. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all this audio here, and that's given me a little longer chunk of silence. And I'm going to delete the rest of the audio. I want to zoom in on, of course it's not silence, it's room tone or background noise. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on that. And now I'm going to go up to Effect, Amplify. Amplify automatically calculates how loud it can make whatever you've selected without damaging it. I'm going to let it go the maximum. I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to listen to this. Now remember, the first part of this and the second part of it had some talking in between. So you can see here, this looks a little different than here. But this is basically what's happening in the room. We'll probably hear some breaths and some other things. So let's listen. Now here's a chunk right here where I hear what sounds like a laundry dryer running in the background. I'm going to play that on repeat. I'm going to hold Shift down before I click play, and that'll just play it over and over again. You hear that sound? There's something repeating in the background. I heard the talent was probably swallowing or something at one point. Let's listen to the rest. It's breathing, obviously. Some swallowing, some more breathing. But I still hear in the background that sound. So I'm going to ask the talent, is anybody doing laundry behind a closed door? Do you have a ceiling fan that's running? What is that sound? We're going to want to probably turn off that sound. With other audio, when I zoom in to the room tone or the background sound or the silence, what you record when you're not talking, I may hear essentially an electrical sound. There is always going to be some electrical noise. It's very quiet. As long as it's not loud, you're fine. So when you send us audio to check, we're going to run it through the ACX check and see what ACX says about how loud your background noise is. And I'm going to zoom in and listen to that background sound to see if I hear any problems with it. That's all for now. We'll talk a little more about how to get better sound in your voiceover next time.